Hello. I had hoped last Sunday to say a little bit about the Play and Pray space, but for various reasons, it wasn't quite the right Sunday service in which to do it. And since I'm now away for a couple of weeks, I thought I would take the opportunity to revert to what we used to do and record something. Um, so this is me, Evelyn, with some thoughts on the Play and Pray space. Want to say, first of all, a huge thanks to everyone who's been involved in helping to create that Play and Pray space, including those who have crafted some wonderful loaves and fishes for us. And if any other crafty people out there would like to crochet, knit, create, build, model, I don't even know all the wonderful things that could be done. Items that link to biblical stories or things to do with our liturgy, whether that's communion, prayer, or anything else, then we're always delighted to receive more things like that. There is also a huge thanks to be said to those who don't make use of the Play and Pray space and yet have made space for it within our church. It's a hugely important thing in terms of saying to children and families that which we believe, which is you are welcome, and that we want children to be able to be discipled and to grow in the family of faith. When Michael and I were first married, we lived in London, in Mortlake, and we attended a Roman Catholic church there, St Mary Magdalene's. And there was one family that was absolutely famous. They were French. He worked for L'Oréal. They had 5 children. One was still a babe in arms. 4 were, various ages going up. And they came to church on a Sunday morning and they would walk in, a bit like the Von Trapp family before Maria got her hands on them. And they would sit down near the front, and all the children, not the babe in arms, but the other 4, would all sit straight with their arms crossed in front of them. And they would basically sit like that for the whole hour of the Mass. Whilst all the other kids in church were running up and down the aisle and being rather wild, because there was a lot of kids in that church. It was attached to a school. Anyway, everyone was always asking Father Christopher about that family because no one else's family behaved that way. And I know Michael and I, this was before we had children, thought, oh yes, well, when we have children, we will want them to be like that in church and to be respectful of other people who are trying to worship and, all the rest of it. And so, although our children never sat with their arms crossed, we very much kept them in line. And do you know what? I don't know if it's connected. I think it probably is, but none of them really have any particular interest in church now. It was not a welcoming space for them. It was not a space where they could relax in any way at all. We failed as parents. We did not enable them to pray. Our understanding of what it meant to participate in worship as a child was really flawed, honestly. And I hope I've learned over the years. And I think we both look back on that now and go, if only we'd let them read some books or, have a little bit of room to breathe and to be who they are. And that's not without holding alongside that a need to learn respect for other people in the space. I'm not sure running up and down the aisles is particularly helpful. We are, after all, gathering to worship and not to be in an indoor playground. But somewhere, some kind of balance, I think we should have struck a better balance. And so, with my own story in mind and the fact that we now have this Play and Pray space, I want to say again, thank you to those of you who maybe find it a bit difficult, that sometimes there's a bit of noise from there, even if it's quiet noise because the children are actually just colouring in a picture of a Bible story, but you can hear the scratching of the pen or something like that. Thank you for the grace that you are showing in allowing the children to be children, and for just tolerating the fact that the noise and the movement can be a distraction. At the same time, I want to say to parents that it is a worship space, and we do want to be teaching the children to worship. It's not something that comes automatically. It's absolutely not a question of sitting with your arms folded. But we talk about this, about modeling the listening, modeling the participation. And, you know, as a church, we are family. And so the question is, how as a family do we help everyone to participate in our family conversation with each other and with God, and in our family meal at the Lord's table? And that's really just an expression of neighbour love, isn't it? So as adults, parents and grandparents and friends and people coming into the church, let's help the children by modeling what we do, by encouraging them to listen and to participate as much as they are able. And children, I'd really like you to do your best to worship when we are all together. And particularly maybe in that first part of the service, you know, you come in, you play for a bit, but when our worship starts, do join in the worship. You can join in the praying, you can join in the singing, and then you'll go to junior church. And after junior church, things are always a little bit more relaxed whilst your parents are having tea and coffee. That's a great time to come and play in the play and pray space. But let's work together as a church family to find that balance between praying and playing, and allow all of us to participate as best we can. Thank you so much, and every blessing to you all.